Hi, welcome back to another episode of More Than Streams, the weekly music marketing podcast that will teach you how to get, you guessed it, more than streams. Today I have someone really special with me, Grayson Repp. Grayson is a global DJ who has performed at some of the world's biggest stages. We're talking about FIFA, the Olympic Games, NFL, and NBA events. He has performed in over 12 countries and his sets have reached over 2 million fans live and 1.5 billion viewers globally. But what's really interesting about Grayson is how he has built a sustainable music business combining all of his different passions. We're going to talk about how he built his career from the ground up, his marketing strategies, and how he is using playlists not just to promote music, but to build a sustainable business. Grayson, welcome to the podcast.
Hey Finch, thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm quite honored. I know it's early in your career as a podcaster, and I'm just really grateful to be one of the first 10 that's been in here. So thank you for having me, and I'm excited to have another conversation about work besides all the work that we already do together. So again, thanks for having me, and excited to be here.
I'm very grateful that you found time to come to this episode because I know your schedule and you're very busy. I wanted to start with a question. Let's start from the beginning. How did you become the official DJ for FIFA and the Olympic Games?
Absolutely. You know what? I'll preface it by saying this. I'm a big believer in everybody you meet on the way up, you meet on the way down. I think if you want to be a musician and be a successful musician and have longevity in this world, it's all about relationships, maintaining those relationships, and ultimately being a good person. I think, when I got into FIFA and the sporting world in general, it actually happened by chance. One of my best friends growing up, he was a diver, I was a swimmer. Him and I were teammates on Team Canada. We were teammates at Arizona State University. I was swimming, he was diving. We were very close throughout our childhood and into our adult years. And after I retired from swimming in my early 20s, I got into music. That was when I was around 19. And 10 years later, after moving to Europe and obviously not staying as in touch as I would have liked, he actually reached out to me in 2021, and he said, "Hey, my dad is looking for somebody to work at the FIFA Arab Cup in Qatar, 21." And this was the test event for the World Cup in 2022. His dad was asking if anyone was available to be a floor manager, which is a completely different job than a DJ or anything like that. And admittedly, I was just looking for work. I had no money. I had no job. I was recently married. I just moved to Europe. I didn't speak German. We were just in the middle of COVID still. So there's a lot of things that weren't going anybody's way, as a matter of fact. But so I was quite desperate, and I was like, you know what, I will do anything. So if I need to be a floor manager, if I need to be the janitor or do whatever, I will do it because I definitely need the money. And after having a brief conversation with him, he said, you know what, I think we're considering using DJs this year. This is something that FIFA's never done in the past. They've never had live DJs in stadium. They've always had like an audio person up in the control room picking the music like that. But they wanted to bring like more of a live entertainment aspect to the football match because traditionally the doors open for the fans to come in 3 hours prior to the game, and they want to entertain people at halftime, pre-match, post-match, etc. And I'm like, I would way rather do that, of course, because, I've been in the club scene at that point for 12 years. I've DJ'd in Vancouver, Los Angeles, Oslo, all over the world. And that was my life, was music. And I never thought I was going to get to marry my two passions back together again, being sports and music. So this was like a kind of a blessing in disguise that just appeared out of the thin air when I really needed it most. So what ended up happening was I went to Qatar. I had zero expectations. I was like, this is just a gift that I'm here. I got to Qatar. They handed me a drive of music. It was admittedly a lot of YouTube rips that were like 128 quality. They were not great. They didn't have intro, outro edits. Not something I would traditionally use in any of my DJ sets. So I kind of had like it was an interesting time for me because I was like, okay, you can either stick to this and I'll be okay. I'll make it work. It's a good challenge. Or what I can do is I could just say, essentially, screw it. I'm going to do my own thing and play all the music that I think is appropriate for this setting, which is in a stadium. And being a former athlete, I have a really good understanding of what the athlete wants to hear when they're in the tunnel and like how the emotions are going up and down and what can put them into the zone and what can take them out of the zone. So I was like, okay, I think I have a really unique perspective that nobody else in this field has. Because not a lot of people, I think, have gone from professional athlete to musician. Like, that's kind of a, when I grew up, I didn't have anybody musical in my family. It was always just something I kind of did on the side. So I went with my intuition. I went with my gut. And I was playing in these stadiums. There was only, this was the Arab Cup 2021. It was the middle of COVID. So there weren't any fans in the stadium until the end. Massive stadiums, 60,000 people, only 50 people actually at these matches. So I was essentially playing for the staff. And I just did it like I was in a nightclub at 2 p.m. And like, I don't know how this all went down, but eventually at the end, nobody was really, like, people were just kind of like, this is great. They were like, bobbing their heads, doing that whole bit. And I was like, okay, I think this went okay. I think this went well. And then they were like, oh, we would love for you to do the third place match. I said, great, I'll do the third place match. And then I got on the plane the next day and went back to Berlin. I never thought anything of it. And then a few weeks later, the same company that hired me out called me back. And they're like, do you want to do this other event with us? Do you want to do this other event with us? And it turned into this string of events that eventually a year later turned up to a phone call from FIFA being like, do you want to be the music director and the head DJ for FIFA for the World Cup? So that's essentially curating all the music for the World Cup, being the head DJ of four other artists, and picking and curating all the music for all these sets, all the key moments, all the commercial moments. So I was totally in this dream world of like, how did I get here within a year? It's been a wild ride. If you asked me 4 years ago when I moved to Berlin that if I would be doing this, be the music director and the head DJ at FIFA, I would have been like, no way. I'd never thought I'd be involved in sports. And admittedly, this is what's paid for my personal project all along. So it's been an amazing journey, and I'm so grateful, and it's exciting to see what's coming up. I think the Olympics I'm leaving to the Olympics in 2 days from now. And that happened because I did an event with a Brazilian company that have ended up winning the bid to do sports presentation at the Olympics. And we had a good time when we did the event in France. And then they called me back a few years later to do the Olympics. So this is just how it works, right? I think it's like, do your job, do a good job, be good to everyone, and things will work out. Probably.
That's awesome. I've never heard this story, like the full story, and I'm so happy to hear it. And yeah, I mean, you didn't have connections before, you didn't have money. It's basically, just meeting people, talking to people, taking every opportunity, and then doors just open, right?
Absolutely. And I think, I don't know if you're familiar with David Foster, but David Foster is actually a Canadian musician, producer. He's a multi Grammy award winner. And I just saw a clip last week, and he's like, this is the advice I give to all young musicians, and it's not the advice that you think that I would give. The most important word for being a good, successful musician is networking. And this is coming from a guy that's a multiple Grammy Awards. And it's like, when you hear something like that, you're like, it totally makes sense. And I can tell you this, like when I moved to Berlin, I had been DJing already for, 13 years. I've essentially opened for everybody: Travis Scott, the Chainsmokers, Robin Schulz, Post Malone, you name it, I've done it. And when I got to Berlin, I'm like, oh, this is going to be quite easy, because it's like, I've made it work in Vancouver, I've made it work in Los Angeles. What would be any difference from Berlin? And the first few years here, other than the FIFA events that I was doing, I was really struggling. Like, I wasn't in the local scene, I wasn't in the club scene. And I'm like, you know what? I woke up and I'm like, why would this be different than anywhere else I've ever been before? I just need to physically go to these clubs, talk to promoters, and that's exactly what I did. And I know that if somebody gives me one chance, there's a high likelihood that they'll invite me back again, because of just the seriousness and how much, how serious I take it. And I played one time, and now I play at this other place in Berlin every other weekend. So that's exactly it. So to every young musician that's like, oh, I can't get gigs, what should I do? You just have to be there. You have to be in the room. I've heard stories of massive remixes from huge artists like Millennium, etc., that they've given remixes to people that are just, it happened to be in the room with them. Because if they're discussing at a dinner table and they're like, hey, so who should we get to remix our album? And if there's somebody like sitting in the room having dinner with them, they're like, oh, you're right here. Like, why wouldn't you do a remix? You know what I mean? And that's actually how it works. You have to put yourself out there. You have to be involved.
So if I'm a small musician and I want to start building connections, so practically, how would you recommend I would approach this? Like, if I go to a nightclub in Berlin, I guess, I can't approach the DJ directly. So how would you recommend I would try to network as a small musician?
What I would do first is I'd figure out where you want to play. Like what's like the genre, or like, what's your dream venue? Like when I was 20, there was a dream venue for me in Vancouver called Celebrities, and this is how I went about doing it. I went to the club 4 nights a week. Every night they were open, I went. In the beginning, they didn't even let me into the DJ booth. Like I don't think if you're a DJ, and this might be different for different genres of music, I would say don't ask other DJs for gigs, because that's, for the most part, unless they're a promoter as well, for the most part, it's like they're going to want the gig. So it's like they need to eat too. So what I did is I went to the promoter. I went to like the bartender, and I'm like, hey, like who's who here? Like who's hanging out behind the DJ booth? Like if it's not the DJ, who are those people? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Follow them on Instagram or follow them wherever, and like be like, hey, like I can just tell you this is my story, because this is just a little bit early in social media days. What I did is I figured out where the promotion's head office was for the people that owned these nightclubs and threw these shows, and I brought donuts to the office. And I walked in there and I said, I'm Grayson Repp. I'm new here. I would love to DJ at your club. Essentially tell me how high I have to jump, and I will do it. Here are your donuts. And they're like, who is this kid? They're like, this is crazy. And then I did that over and over. And then they saw me out at the nightclub, and they saw me supporting. And then they're like, okay, let's put you on like a Tuesday night. Let's student night. Let's see how it goes. I went in there. I crushed it. Then they're like, okay, can you bring some people? Yeah, I can bring like 10 friends. I can do that. Awesome. Do you want to open up for Vicetone next week? And Vicetone at this time, and they're massive, like they're a Dutch duo. And this was in Vancouver, Canada. And I opened for them, and guess what? The show sold out. It was my first major opening show, and it sold out. And all the promoters were there. They're like, you crushed it. Chainsmokers, 2 weeks. You want to do it?
No
And that's
way.
literally how it started for me. And it was like an absolute, like, here's the thing is people assume that might have happened quickly, but they forget that I dropped out of university 2.5 years before, and I just mixed back and forth in my basement. So I was also a really good DJ, and I had a really refined taste, and I knew exactly, I was really I was really intentional with what I wanted to do. So I guess the moral of the story, to answer your question, is like I would find the promoter first. So it's like when I did this in Berlin all these years later, I went to this club. I knew the guys that were promoting it, and I just said, hey, I would really love to play here. Can you give me a date? Can you find me a slot? And when you get the opportunity and you get the slot, you just got to crush it. And it doesn't it helps if you bring a few friends too, because then it's like, oh, bring some friends. The club makes money. You do well. That's just the way it goes, and you really have to be like involved. Like they want to see you show up. I think like as I've gotten older, it's obviously like, and my schedule's gotten busier. I can't go out 3 nights a week anymore, but I do know that if I want to play at a new place and a new club, I go. I did this last Friday. There's a club in Berlin that I really wanted to play at. It's a house music club specifically. And I literally hit up the promoter and I was like, hey man, I'd love to come by on Friday. I'm going to bring a couple friends. He's like, amazing. I went in there and he's like, when do you want to play here? It works. It worked last week. It worked 12 years ago. David Foster's talking about it. It's just putting yourself into the scene, going out there, putting yourself out there, and just talking to people. And yes, I'm not saying don't talk to the other DJs. You can, but it's you just need to be mindful that they're also needing to pay their rent and they need to eat too. And it's the last thing a DJ wants to hear is like, oh, there's another DJ coming up. Until you get to a certain point. Like now that I've done what I've done, if I find like a young artist that I'm really into, I am going to support them and I am going to bring them out and I am going to have them open for me or whatever it might be, because I'm just at that point in my career. I wasn't there when I was 21. When I was 21, I was like, I have to get these shows. How do I get in? Right?
Amazing. Yeah. And another question, do you think those promoters, do they look at your social media or do they look at like past experience? And like, bottom line, I want to know how much social media has an impact and like numbers on Spotify and Instagram. Do you think they check and just to see like, I don't know, if you have some experience, if you will bring people?
I do. I think the difference is like, what they're going to want you to do, and this might be city to city, because I'm at the point now where it's like I don't need to have a 50-person guest list to get booked. Berlin is a little bit different. I think if you're living in Los Angeles or you're living in like North America, I think you do need to show up and bring some people. I think that's really smart because like it's a business at the end of the day. Like they need to make money. If you're starting from zero, you got to make these connections. You have to get in there and make these connections and get them to like you and get them to book you, because these days like the scene has changed. Like I think a lot of this goes for like signing even with agents and getting big shows booking. they want to sign people, like managers want to sign people that are like done it themselves already, so that you're essentially doing the job for them in a way. You know what I mean? Like they want it to be like make it easy for them. Like I think the days of old where a label was like, oh, we're gonna develop this artist and like we're gonna do this thing and we're gonna start from zero with them. I do not think that model exists anymore. Unfortunately, I wish it did, but that's just the reality that we're living in. So they're gonna want to see you being yourself and doing something a little bit different than everybody else, you know? And it's like, I think we're also in a world that a lot of promoters are even booking themselves to DJ now. Like the DJ world is a little bit of like a mess, in my opinion, right now. Not in Europe per se, because it's like here it's a little bit still, it's more about the music still. It's about the art. Not so much like bringing my friends along and like getting bottle service and doing that thing. So yeah, it's definitely a tough go. It's not for like the faint of heart. It's not an easy business to be in, but I think like if you're really good and like you're a good person and like you do like bring some people out, I think you should be fine. Like, yeah. And social media following doesn't hurt. I think like anything you can do, posting content is helpful. And like that's just the way we're living right now. We're living in a social proof era where it's like you have to have people follow you and have to have, it's like you're not relevant until like either someone big tells their audience that you're relevant or you've just built it yourself. Like I think another good example of this is Bunt. Bunt is like my like North Star artist, German guy. He posted a video on TikTok like a couple years ago of his song Clouds, and it was literally him on a train traveling being like, this is my new song, hashtag Fred again. And it blew up, and he has literally sold out almost, like I think he sold out 99% of his shows in the last 3 years since posting that.
Wow.
And it was one video. So I think like another thing to younger artists, and I'm still trying to do this myself, I haven't made it by any means, I'm not anywhere near where I want to be, is having the mindset that one video could change your life. So I think when people are like really like, oh, I got to post today, and like, oh, like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's not the same as making music for a lot of people. It's, but you need to understand that one video could change your life and your career. And secondly, another piece of advice that I've struggled with, that I've been starting to like put my head in the zone with is like, I'm just treating this as another art form. As if I'm making music, I'm enjoying making content. It's another art form, and it's also, it could be like the shadow version. Like it's almost like there's a great author called Stephen Pressfield, and he writes a book called Turning Pro, and he writes about this thing called the resistance with a capital R, and it's like anything you don't want to do or you're scared of, you actually need to do that first. And I think content is like the barrier for a lot of artists, because I know it was for me. And now I'm like, I've gotten the routine of I'm posting every day or every other day, and I'm like really enjoying it now, because now it's part of my routine. And it's just, yeah, I mean, like I said, we're in a social media driven economy, especially with music. So the long-winded answer to your question, apologies for the long answer, is 100% it's important.
No, your answers are amazing. You talk about everything here, and yeah, I mean, I'm making so many notes for myself. Even what you said about networking, you know, you talked about how content is like sort of art, but I think talking to people is also some sort of art.
Absolutely.
I mean, the way you talk to people, the way you communicate. And I see a lot of people, probably they reach out to you, they want you to play their music, they reach out to me, they want me to promote their music. And you can see how some people do need to work on their skill of talking to people, networking. Definitely, I'm working on it all the time. And I feel like, yeah, the moment you learn how to talk to people, how to communicate, that just grows your career and life, basically. And content also, yeah, just making good content and approaching it as a sort of art. It can make it easier, and it just makes it work. And music, we all want to just make music, but you know, we can make talking to people and creating content fun if we just approach it the right way.
100%. And I think it just takes time. It takes time to get there, and I know it's difficult because I've done it and I'm still going through it. It's not like, again, like I'm never the mindset that I've ever made it or done anything. I'm really grateful for every opportunity I've ever been given, but this is the point of life, is to just do hard things and learn. Like I want to do that until the day I die. Like that's what I plan to do. It's like every day is a learning experience. And I just want to circle back to one more thing about networking that's really present within the last 6 months for me. So you and I have talked about TrackStack before. TrackStack being the service where I could send music to other DJs and big artists or labels, and they can do that with me. I made an Instagram post last May, and I just said, hey, I'm starting a track stack. Artists, if they want to submit music to me, and this isn't a paid thing, this is like I don't get paid to review music. They just send me the music, and I listen to it, and I decide whether I want it for my sets or whatever it might be. I just fired it out there. I made one Instagram post about it. I think the Instagram post did like maybe 2,500 views, so nothing significant. And then I got sent a bunch of songs. I reviewed them. I accepted one. I ended up getting a phone call from the head of A&R at Rotan Music in Romania, the biggest label in Romania. And he's like, hey, man, you accepted one of my songs. I'm the head of A&R. I would love to chat with you on the phone. So I was like, okay, great.
Wow.
We spoke, and this is so crazy because this was during the Club World Cup last summer, and I was really busy. So it's like he was in Romania, I was in New York. I'm like, we were playing phone tag for 3 weeks. Eventually I got home, and like I said, I'm a former swimmer, so the World Championships was on for swimming. A Romanian swimmer literally touches the wall, wins a gold medal, and then he texts me at the same time, and I'm like, dude, so I just picked up the phone and I called him. I'm like, yo, perfect timing. Like, did you just watch this Romania? Because Romania has like an amazing swimming team and water polo and like all those aquatic sports. He's like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And this is literally how we'd never spoken on the phone. And we were like screaming, like celebrating. And then we just had an amazing conversation. And 3 days later, he's like, hey, one of the most legendary artists in Romanian history, Accent, global European artist, he remade one of his biggest hit. And we would love for you to remix it. And this all started just because I started a track stack and I just put myself out there. Like, that's how this happens. Like, there's no secret to, like, there's not like there's any of these backdoor conversations happening. And like, yes, sure, there's like such thing as nepotism, of course. But I'm like, that is not me. And this guy literally just hit me up. His name is Chris. And he's like one of my really, really good friends now. And it just happened because I put myself on Trackstack. I had no expectations. I didn't think anything was going to happen from it. And then I got to have an official remix of one of the most highest selling European songs of all time. So it's like, again, it's just this theory keeps proving itself over and over again. And I am not by any means an expert. I'm just going and telling you my experience and my assumptions and the stuff that I've learned. So that's just, maybe what's worked for me might not work for somebody else. It's not a one size fits all industry, but I can tell you that like it's what's worked for me.
I think that's the secret. You said there is no secret, but when you give, then you get back. I mean, you gave donuts and yeah, you got something back from it. You just started receiving songs online and then that happened. So given, and especially for free or just for a low amount, giving without wanting to get something back, I think that's the secret for growing a career, growing in music, growing in anything. Just give, create connections, and don't try to get always something back from people.
100%. Like, I think there obviously is a place for like business interests and business relationships. I do, but I don't think it really ever starts there. Like, I think, like, you really genuinely... Like, my FIFA career started with, like, my oldest friend's dad messaging me, and I hadn't seen him in years. You know what I mean? And it's, like... And then, like, the guy that ended up is, like, my direct boss at FIFA and has been for the last few years. He's also from Vancouver, and he's like, hey, I used to manage this bar. And I'm like, how did we not run into it? You know what I mean? Like, it's, like, all these, like, small... It's just, like... You end up realizing like the 6 degrees of separation between everybody in the world. It is very interesting, but I think like you have to have a signal for it, and you just have to put yourself out there. You just have to put yourself out there and, do your best to know yourself and know what you want and be intentional with like your thoughts. And I think these things just happen. Like it's very interesting.
They just happen. Yeah. You never know when.
They just happen. And that's life. Like bad things happen too, but this too shall pass. Like honestly, that's life. Like, and it's like if you see a challenge and you have a roadblock, amazing. Figure out how to get around it. That's it.
Speaking of bad things, you were talking about the things that worked well for you. I'm just wondering, for small musicians, what do you think are some mistakes that you made and they might want to avoid that cost you time and money?
Time and money. Okay, interesting. Definitely stretching yourself too thin and trying to do everything at once. That is an issue that I am dealing with even today as we're speaking. I think there's a time and a place and an understanding for what you really need to be doing in the next, like the way that what I read recently about guys like Steve Jobs is like they were really clear on what they needed to do in the next 18 hours. And that's how they kind of viewed their moving forward. They weren't thinking like all these months down the line. What I'm finding an issue for me right now is being spread too thin. And this is like something where we could segue off into the business that we're doing together, because I found that if I try to do everything and micromanage everything, it doesn't work out. And I think like in the beginning, like I've been really lucky because I've always had like a really solid group around me that have supported me, like my first and foremost being my parents, and obviously having friends that have supported me either by being investors in my project or building out the things that I've needed that I'm not the expert. Other mistakes. I think the biggest mistake that I made when I was younger, and this is maybe a rite of passage, is I didn't take my health seriously. You know, I was out there, I was drinking every weekend. Like, I think part of the deal when I was 20 was like, again, like I said, I was out 4 nights a week and I partied 4 nights a week. Like, I was like not sleeping. I was like, I had like obviously had 2 part-time jobs because I wanted to DJ. I worked at a clothing store. I did all that stuff. But I really did not take care of myself. And I think like until COVID hit and then I got completely sober, that was a huge thing. And I'm like, oh man, like I wish I'd done that when I was 25. So I don't necessarily regret it because I have like all these amazing times and amazing stories and I had a lot of fun. But I think in the beginning, I'm like, ugh, I could have probably taken it a little bit easier on the bottle and like not done that. The interesting thing is like, you need to make mistakes. You can't avoid making mistakes because then you don't learn. And I also think another thing is like, and this is something I've learned recently, and I'm 34 now, is like it's not that I don't like advice. I just think like, yes, you can get advice given to you, but you still need to figure it out on your own. You know what I mean? And I think a big thing too is like really need to listen to your intuition. Like if you feel intuitive about like a song idea or like an event you want to throw, or even if you just want to like go travel to this place because you're just curious, like go do that. Like do that thing. Because nobody like that. This is like been an issue that I've had in the last few years where it's like I really love a song that I made and I send it to somebody that is like better than me or whatever you want to call it, and they're like, no, this doesn't work. And then like the idea, you're like, oh wow, somebody told me this idea isn't good, so it must not be good. And then I'm like kicking myself years later, being like, why did I listen to that? And I think that's something that I'm dealing with now. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like now I'm like, if my signal or source, as Rick Rubin calls it, if I'm feeling like really good about something, I have to do it, especially with a song idea. I have to pursue it and at least see it through. And like all the other stuff, the other noise from other people, you just need to remember that like they're living their life and maybe they had a bad day and maybe that's why they don't like the demo that you sent them. But don't let that be like the catalyst reason why you don't release that song. You know what I mean? Because there's been a lot of times 100%. In the last year where I've been like really in love with what I'm doing and I'm like, oh man, like there's a couple other people that don't necessarily love this, and I've like gotten quiet about it and not released it, and then like now I'm like, wow, why did I do that? Because at the end of the day, it's like my project is my project. It's my name. I've worked for 15 years, 16 years doing this, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. And the fact that you said just do it like 10 times the past 5 minutes has nothing to do with the fact that you wear a Nike jacket. Just so that you're gonna...
Yeah, this isn't a sponsor. They're not paying me yet. They're not paying me yet. I think the best advice I can give, and the one thing that really held me back, was taking care of my body and my mind. Like now that I'm older and I have to be in the gym every day and I eat really healthy and I'm doing all these things, and the primary thing is getting a really good night's sleep. Like I am an absolute like stickler when it comes to my sleep. I don't have a choice on the weekend when I DJ till 6 a.m. in Berlin, but that's the way that it is. That's the career path I chose. I go to bed early and I get a good night's sleep because I am so much more of a normal human the next day, and I can actually create and get things done that I need to get done. I think like this whole, I know in the DJ world, everyone's like, oh, I stay up till 6 a.m. working on music. I don't think that, like, I think that's BS. I really do. I think if you had a good night's sleep, like we've missed potential of so many big artists and so much great works of art because people just chose not to sleep and had this attitude of like, I'll sleep when I die. And I think that's BS. I really do. So the taking care of yourself is the one thing I wish I'd done differently. And maybe that, and you know, the crazy thing is I don't know if anybody, I think most musicians are like, oh, like, what's your tip for mixing? And like, what's a mistake that you made, like talking to a promoter or something like that? I really don't think it's that. I really actually think it's just taking care of yourself, because if you do take care of yourself, your actions will be stronger and they will be better because you'll be clear-minded.
Yeah. Obviously, I think the best tip for a good mixing is just drink 8 glasses of water every day.
Sure, 100%. Drink 8 glasses of water and go outside. Like, go outside. Like, even where we live in the area that you and I live in isn't like, it's not nice. Like 8 months of the year, you're in the clouds, but just go outside, get some fresh air, like take a break. Like I find that's another thing that I'm dealing with recently is like, I'm so busy and so stretched that I'm like, I need to make time to go to the gym and just go outside, take my dog for a walk and like just get out and do things because I think like, I can tell you all of the best ideas I've had. And I know like, and a bunch of amazing artists that like Rick Rubin is a perfect example of this, like as a producer. It's like you have to like my best ideas come when I'm like in the shower or I've just gotten out of the sauna. It's like when I've let go and my body is loose and my mind is loose.
All right, so we talked about everything that is not marketing, but in a way it's all related to marketing. So Grayson, are you ready to talk about marketing?
Let's talk about marketing.
When we started working together, one of the main things we focused on was growing your playlists, stadium anthems, and electronic hits. In just a few months, you doubled your Spotify followers to over 15,000, you grew your email list to 10,000, and you turned playlist curation into an income source. So I want to talk about that journey. How has curating playlists helped you as an artist and as a DJ?
Great question. And, I'm going to preface this by saying it's still very new to me. Like, I think the success we've had is very rare, and it's definitely not as easy as it looks. I think we started in mid-December, and it's now January the 28th, and we're at where we're at. I think, firstly, you're the one that gave me the idea that I could do this as a side income. I think there's been a couple times in the past where, like, I'll start with this. I'll say, I think my curation is probably one of my strongest skills because I've been doing it for so long. Like I've started when I was 8 years old making the mixtapes for the dressing rooms of all the sports I was playing. And that's a reason why I got into DJing. I think, I was at a university party and that same friend, the same one that got me the connection into FIFA, I DJ'd a house party with my BlackBerry plugged into a guitar amp, and I played a bunch of music, and everyone went crazy. And he's like, "Oh man, like maybe you should be a DJ." So he's been a very important person in my life, to say the least. With that being said, I think I've always curated. Like I've been DJing for so long, and I've been doing this, so it's kind of in the essence of who I am as a person. And I'm very connected to certain music, and have a very interesting like. I'll give you a kind of a cool story that is about curation. So, the World Cup EA Sports FIFA 98 Road to the World Cup. The video game was the first video game I ever played on PC, and it happened to be football. And the theme song is Song 2 by Blur, which is like a massive English hit, massive hit all over the world, massive in sports. And all these years later in 2022, the goal song for France when they score was Song 2 by Blur. So I got to play it at the World Cup final. And I was like, wow, this song stuck with me through all of these years since I was literally 8 years old. So I've been curating for a long time, but I actually never thought that I could earn any income from it because I was always like, well, I'm an artist, I'm a DJ, this is my thing, I'm not curating. But essentially, I actually was doing that without really knowing it. So when our marketing team, you and Dustin, and we started talking about this being like a viable option, we were thinking like, okay, how can we make this interesting? And I think with my work in sports gave us an edge that I think is very rare. Not a lot of people have, if any others other than myself have at this level at all, where it's like I'm curating the soundtrack for these stadiums in front of millions of people and billions of people that are watching on TV. So, it seemed like the right thing to do was make a stadiums playlist because I was like, this is, there's not a lot of playlists out there and it's kind of something different and it's very, very niche. So I was like, okay, let's slide all the chips in, meaning, let's see what we can do with our running ads. Let's see what we can do with building these playlists. Like, I think you and I both didn't have any expectations of how fast this would move. I definitely did not. And admittedly, like our marketing budget isn't like this massive budget. We're not pouring like all this money into it. It's pretty low, in my opinion, of ad spend per day on the stuff that we're doing. And I guess people like it. Like, again, like I had no expectations. And in the last month, I've been able to earn more money than I thought I would, for sure. Do you want me to say the number? Is that relevant?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So like that. So thus far, I think we've earned $800. 800
800.
euro. Yeah,
Nice.
800. And it's like the first month we've done it. So it's like, you know, and I'm like, this is shocking to me. Like, this is totally crazy. And I'm actually starting to get submissions from people that I like look up to, like Metatone, who manages John Summit, and Max Styler, the biggest DJs on earth. Their management hit me up on Summit Hub, and they're like, hey, consider Max's new remix for your playlist. And I'm like, man, I literally just watched this guy sell out this club like 3 months ago. I'm like, this is incredible. So yeah, it's been really, really interesting. And how it's helped me as a DJ and as an artist is I find that my schedule is so focused on making music and making content that I really lost the curation side, because it's like, you know, 10 years ago when I wasn't making music, I think what gave me the edge over other people is that my crates were so deep. Like, I looked beyond what other people were looking for from music. And I think that's what set me apart and made me successful locally in the cities that I was in, was because it's like, you know, people didn't spend as much time on curating as I did, but I was doing it unknowingly, because I was just doing it for my DJ sets. I wasn't doing it for Spotify or whatever. And, you know, I used to get music off of like this Romanian website that was pre-copied. Like, you know what I mean? There was so many little tricks that I had, and I had all these record pools that were very like artist driven first, and like I would spend hours finding these remixes that I would play in my sets, and then people were like, holy shit, this guy's sets are crazy, like where did you find this edit, or where did you find this? And I was like, honestly, I found it on like the 8th page of YouTube or SoundCloud, or like, you know what I mean, or added or made this edit out of these two edits together. And the beautiful thing about curating that's helped me recently is, first and foremost, it is started building relationships again, which I've always said which I've said throughout this interview, beating the dead horse at this point, sound like a broken record, is like, that is so important. And I'm starting to build relationships and having the emails of these people that I want to be signed with eventually. So that's, you know, very important in itself. Secondly, is now that I'm listening to so much more music than I did, it's like really inspiring me for the music that I make, because I'm hearing all of these underground artists, big and small, and I'm like, wow, this is like truly some groundbreaking stuff. And so I'm like, this is stuff that I could put into my own work. So yeah, it's been nothing but positive so far. I would say the only thing that has been a concern, again, is my, and this is why we have you on, this is why you're an integral part of our team, is my time management. Because it's like, fine, because I didn't expect this. Like, I didn't think I was going to be spending 2 hours, 3 hours a day curating music, but here I am, you know what I mean? And I eventually will have to figure out a way to make it work with, you know, making music and doing all the other things we have going on in the project. But, yeah, it's been this whole new world that I've been opened up to, and I'm so grateful that you put me onto it and helped me get it set up, because it's yeah, it's like, this is what I love to do. I love to listen to music. This is how it all started, was just listening to music. At the end of the day, yes, I'm an artist, but I'm also just a fan of music and artistry in general. And this has just been such a beautiful next step on the journey, is getting into curating, I guess, at a monetizing level.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And definitely you don't need to be a DJ to be a playlist curator. Like, as you said, you liked these songs since you were 6, and then just playing it in front of people is so fun. I mean, as a music lover, also myself, I love music, and thinking about the fact that I can like just put my favorite songs on a playlist and then make other people listen to them and enjoy them, get paid for it, create connections, all of those things together. It's just
amazing.
The next level of being a musician.
Absolutely. And I think, like, you know, we're in an economy now where obviously, like, things are tight and it's difficult. Like, to survive is difficult. And I think if you are a music lover, like, and you have good taste, because I think, like, everybody gets, and this is my assumption and this is my journey, everybody, and this is something Rick Rubin preaches a lot, we get into music and into artistry because we initially have good taste, but we don't necessarily know how to make those things happen. Like, as a producer, I have a lot, like, I remember when I started, I've gone through demos that I first started with, like, and I numbered them, so I made a demo a day. This is how I got started making music, actually. And I think this is good advice for someone who wants to start but doesn't know how to stay consistent. And this isn't just for making music, this is for everything in life. This is how I got sober, this is how I make music, this is how I do, essentially, got good habits. I had an accountability partner and an accountability group dedicated on WhatsApp or iMessage or whatever. And every day you check in with something that you've done. So no alcohol, day 1. Make a beat, day 1. Meditate, day 1. Whatever it is. Eat healthy, day 1. And you just go day by day. And I had a friend when I lived in Los Angeles, and he's from my hometown. And I said, hey man, I was at a breaking point. I'm like, if I don't make music, I'm not going to do this ever. So I need to do this now. And I'm like, I'm going to send you a beat every day. You don't have to listen to it. I just need to put it in this group chat, put a Dropbox file or a WAV file into this thing, and I just need to do this for myself. And he's like, okay, got it. And I sent him I think it was 89 in a row, 89 days. And this is how I started producing. I struggle so much with consistency, and I think a lot of people do. And it's just like having an accountability partner, even if you're talking to yourself in a group chat. Like, I message myself all the time. Like, all my ideas I put into my message to myself on WhatsApp, or like a video, I send it to myself. I know a lot of other people that do that, like a notepad. But that's how I got started to make music, was like, if I don't, like, I needed to send a beat a day. And then once you have the routine, it's like solidified, then you do it every day.
Yeah, the way I do it, I gamify it with, like, I have a paper and I just like do like on Duolingo, you know, you just like do it straight. Like, you want every day to do it. If you don't do it, just like, oh shit, I skipped a day. So would you say that every musician or DJ should start curating playlists? Yes,
because obviously your playlist can be a broad term. You have to curate your playlist before you play a DJ set. I mean, some people might be like, oh yeah, like, I don't plan, because I can tell you a couple things. So in the beginning of my DJ career, I just went for it. Like, I didn't have a playlist song for song, but I had like a playlist of 100 songs, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play whatever within these 100 songs. When I play like a proper Grayson Repp set, if I'm playing at like a World Cup, it'll be like, I'll have, for the most part, most of the set planned, 80%, but it'll all be mixed in key, and it'll all be organized to make sense. And it won't be like genre here, genre there. Like, it'll be a cohesive mix, and that is vital. So yes, making playlists either for just yourself to listen to, if you want to make them for other people, amazing. I think there's like, over time, what happens is like you start to, it's like chipping away, making a statue. Is like, you'll get really good at making it cohesive, and I think that's like when people will be like, oh, this is really cool to listen to, because it makes sense, you know, sonically. And it's really easy. It's free. Like, making playlists is like, you know, there's nothing, like, maybe I'm going to age myself here, but like, I love making mixtapes for, like, you know, the girl I was dating or my wife now. Like, you know what I mean? I love doing that, and I still love doing it at 34 years old, and I think it's like something that I've done my whole life. And like I said, why not? If you want to be a musician, like, yeah, you got to curate playlists, of course. Like, that is what makes you you, and what makes you stand out in a group of a million people that want to do this these days. It's like the most original thing you can do, and this is really important for like the AI age we're coming into. Everybody can like be a copycat of somebody else. Easier, it's like easy. Everyone does it. People do it. But the most original thing you can do, and what people are craving, is authenticity, and that is your song selection. That's what sets you apart. That is your music. That is your art. I'm interested in what other people, like, people often ask me, other artists are like, well, what do you think of my content? And what do you think of like the things that I'm doing? And I'm like, I don't know anything about you. And I'm like, I want to learn about you. You know what I mean? Like, tell me a story about like your journey, or tell me a story about like what you're doing. But you can also hear that. That's exactly it. Like, show me your playlist, show me what you're into. Like, because it's like, then I have an idea of who you are as a person. And I think that's the most original thing you can do. And that is what is going to set yourself apart from every other musician in the world. And like, let me tell you, especially living in Berlin, everybody's a DJ. Everybody is doing this. I think like one of the reasons why I've had success in Berlin is because I come from a different place. So it's like my perspective on music and how to mix music is different than another DJ in Berlin, whether that's good or bad or whatever that might mean. But I've had success doing that. It's like the most interesting thing is your perspective and how you get that out. The easiest, most like cost-friendly way to do that is just make a playlist. It doesn't cost anything to make a playlist on Spotify. I mean, what, $9.99 a month for the premium account? You don't even have to have a premium account on Spotify. You can just make playlists. Like, just make them or make mixes. That is how I got into the thing. I remember when I bought my first DJ equipment, I actually spent the rest of my student loan on my last few $1,000s of my student loan. I dropped out of school. I don't even know if this is legal. I dropped out of school and I spent it on DJ equipment. And then I just made mixes and I recorded them into GarageBand live. So I didn't know how to produce. So I didn't like mix them in Ableton. I made them live, which meant like if you messed up in the last 59th minute of your hour-long set, you had to redo the whole thing. And that's like, that's what I did. And it was all playlisting. At the end of the day, it was all playlisting. Like, it was just, Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool and it's so easy to do, and it's uniquely you. And I think that's what sets apart the great artists from the good ones. It's like the good ones are like they're living and they're copying other people. Whereas if you want to be great, you have to do something different. I mean, you look at every A-list artist on earth, A-list, I'm talking top, they all did something new. They all did something new, you know? And everybody else, BC level, they're just kind of copying whatever the trend is or whatever's happening. So what sets you apart is your own playlist.
I absolutely agree. And you talked about costs, and basically, yeah, creating a playlist is free, but also the ad costs are not too expensive. Like you can spend $5 a day and you will see growth of your playlist.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So it's like there's all these cool ways that you've introduced me to in the last 2 months that I didn't even know existed, right? So you have the submit hubs, you have like the groovers, you have all these things, and it's like if you're consistent with it, and you put like because I think like the other thing that people do need to understand is like to make money, you do need to spend a little bit of money, and you do need to build out your team. I think like another amazing thing that's happened to me on my journey, and I think, you know, I just felt I was lucky enough to fall into this and realize this young, is like, again, hiring out people that are smarter than you. Like when it comes to the music curation stuff and like this business side of it and the ads, you are an expert. I am not. I am a 5-year-old child who can DJ well and make music somewhat okay. I want to get better, but I'm not good at this. So it's like you need to get people involved that will help you and guide you, and it's like you need to be willing to put money up front to get there, because that's just how it works. Like it's like if you want to have like an expert or, you know, these things, like, or you want like to be able to use your time wisely, you are gonna have to spend a little bit of money, but that is just the reality of it. So it's like, I guess, be really mindful of your priorities. You know, maybe instead of like ordering the McDonald's off of Uber Eats, save yourself the 15 euros 4 times a month, eat at home for half the price, and then put the other half into marketing. Like our model is like the Mr. Beast model, in the sense where like every dime that we make, I put back into this. Like, as you know, we've talked about this the last few months, and I'm happy to share this with the audience. It's like every cent that I make goes back into this. So it's like I'm like very intentionally watching what my subscription price is for all these things and be like, do I truly need this today? Do I truly need this now? Because it's like every single thing goes back into it. As far as like my last song campaign, or not my last one, the one in July, I gave away Tomorrowland tickets. Like people were like, are you nuts? Like that's expensive, dude. But I'm like, I want the pre-saves. And then I'll start building a super fans. So I'm like, this is like the way to do it. And it cost me money up front. And eventually, like, yes, we'll make the money back with like the royalties on the song. And the song did well. And then I was able to get an amazing remixer, Matt Pridgeon, who's like one of my top 5 artists for 2026. Got him to make a remix, and his thing blew up. And like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you just have to be willing to do it. And I know it's very nerve-wracking, but you'll be all right. Like if you'll be okay. And because the thing is like, if it goes wrong or bad, guess what? You learned a lesson. So it's actually not a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the earlier you do it, then the earlier
cross it off,
just
you
make
cross
the
it off the
mistake.
list. 100%. Like I can tell you another story really quick about working with a PR agency. Like people are like, oh, you got to do PR agency. Hired a PR agency. Didn't go as well as expected. I'm like, okay, I spent some money up front and maybe I lost some money, but I've learned that I'm not going to work with them anymore. Not because they're bad people or anything, but just because it didn't work for my project. And now that I've learned that, I can cross that off my list, so I'm not wondering, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that for my next release. So I think that's the other thing, is like eventually over time, all of these lessons you learn, you end up refining your system for the better.
No, I love it. You earn some money from curation and from playing DJ sets and from your other projects, and you reinvested it in the past few months on different projects. I'm curious, what results are you most proud of from the work that you have done in the past few months, or specifically the work that we have done together?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, you got to hire Finch for all your projects, and I'm not just saying this. He's not paying me. I'm paying him. Yeah, I think there was a gap in my strategy. We needed somebody to come in and like really give us an understanding of what the ad spends and stuff that we were needing to do. Like I said, our other partner has a background in affiliate marketing, not in music marketing per se. So we are coming from a bunch of different worlds to converge and make this project successful. I would say like you've given me an entirely new income stream that I was completely unaware of, which has been super helpful. You've taken a lot off of my plate to be more of an artist and do the things that I do need to be doing. Like, for example, our email marketing, which has been so important. I think like what a lot of artists miss is they're not building from an early time their real fans, which means it's all about connection. So it's like we've been writing emails, we're doing twice a week, like we're building this email list. I think what that leads into, because of the processes that we have, leads into followers on Spotify, which is so vital. And I think it's such an overlooked number. Like everyone's always looking like, what are your streams? What are your monthly listeners? I think the most important number is your followers, because every time you come out with a new release, they get to see it as following you. And because of the email lists we've done, now when I have a new release, I'm going to have 10,000 people, or for whatever our open rate is, get to have their eyes on that song first. Right, so it's just like it's a no-brainer. It's been a no-brainer, and I'm not kicking myself that I didn't do it earlier, because, like I said, it was a lesson that we didn't know. I had no idea what I was doing. So, like, working with you has been so beneficial. And admittedly, I just found you on Instagram, so it's like look for the people you want on your team, and like reach out and make it happen. Like I remember we started by how did we start? I remember we booked a call to talk about these kind of things, and then I bought your course. And then it turned into like, hey, let's like work full time together, which we essentially are. And it's been so cool, because it's like we're also learning together. Like this is exactly what you spoke about. There's things from my past, there's things from the things you have going on, and we're kind of combining it into this super team. And the best part about it is like, I think the willingness that we both have to learn, like we both don't act like we know it all, because we don't. You know what I mean? And I think like I've worked with people in the past that have been like, and like, for example, if you ask a question about marketing and you're like, oh, how do you know that? And they're like, well, it's just how it is. And you're like, well, that's not really like, can you tell me why? And they don't have an answer, right? Just because the way that it's always been done. And I think working with you has been so amazing, because you're willing to take feedback and take ideas and try everything, which I don't think people are really, really willing to do. It's because it's like they have this hardened idea in their mind that this is the way it needs to be. And like, great, we can try this, but if it doesn't work, we're going to just cut loose and move on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's ever about like, it's not important who has the best idea, because the best idea just benefits everybody involved. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be my idea. It doesn't have to be your idea. It doesn't have to be other people's idea. Whoever just, you know what I mean? So I think like that's been super beneficial. And like, again, like we've pivoted already like 3 times with the stuff that we've done. We were working in MailChimp, and we worked on Substack, and we're doing this, and we're moving quickly. And I think the best part is like we're failing fast, which means that we're learning quicker, which means we're going to have success compounding at a high level. You know what I mean? Like we're not doing the same things over and over again that aren't working. Like, yeah, sure, we could stick with the same thing and get a low open rate or whatever that might be. But now it's like we're crushing it, because we learned and we pivoted and we moved fast. And I think like that just speaks to who you are as a person and as a collaborator. So it's like I've got nothing but good things to say, man. Oh, like honestly, 100%. Like I love it. I'm so grateful. And yeah, it's so nice to have like a running mate to do these kind of things, because it's as a musician, like and I know because you're a musician too, it can't be a one-man army. As much as people want to do things themselves, you can't do that. Like you're built, you are who your posse are. Like this is something my parents taught me as a kid. Like you are like your 5 and 10 best friends and all the people you surround yourself with. Like your posse is so important. Like your support group is so important. And yeah, it's been awesome. So it's like I hope that we can add new members in the future, and like I'm really looking forward to the next steps, because we're quite early in our journey still, and we've seen some early signs of success, and we've learned a lot in a short amount of time, and I just want to continue doing that and driving it forward.
Likewise, definitely. You've been the dream client, basically, just because how flexible you are. And I think for a lot of musicians, like they're not looking for the more than streams. And that's my philosophy, just trying to look for the more than streams, because as a musician myself, I've worked with marketing companies that, early on in my career, before I became a music marketer, they only gave me the streams. And then when I stopped working with them, then just left me there, and streams just come and go, and then you're just, you don't have the assets. So building the assets, that's really important. Exactly. And the fact that you're willing to build assets together, and that's super important, and it makes the entire process more fun. And we see results.
Absolutely. And I think like the most important thing is like we need to build a world. Like we're building a world around Grayson Repp right now. Like that's essentially what we're doing. And that is so vital because at the end of the day, like I know some artists that have like um 500,000 like followers on like Instagram and TikTok, and like they only have like 70,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and they're on tour playing at Tomorrowland this year. You know what I mean? And it's because that
Yeah.
person is, these artists have built worlds around what they're doing, and they've built assets, and they've built email lists, and they've done all these things, and they're building a community. So it's like, and here's the ultimate thing. It's like, you could be the best musician in the world and write the best song ever, but if nobody hears it, it's not. You know, so it's like
Yeah.
you have to care about these things, and you have to invest, and I think that's the most important things. You have to invest, and you have to be willing to put these things up front, because it's like if you don't, you're going to stay in the same spot, and you're going to be like, man, like what am I doing? So it's like, yeah, maybe it'll be uncomfortable in the beginning, but you got to go for it. You got to go for it. Like bring the people on board that you need, and like, you know, make some sort of deal. Like I know in the early days, if you don't have money, then do percentages on your royalties or do something. You can always find a way. You can always find a way. And like, you know what, if it doesn't work out with that person, then so be it. That's just another lesson learned. Like I said, I think people get so caught up in being like, well, I can't. It's like ending a relationship. Like I can't do this now because it's like I'm locked in. Yes, you can. Easier said than done, but yes, you can, and you can pivot, and that's okay.
Love it, love it, and yeah, I really love the world called Grayson Rep,
We're doing our
and I'm a
best.
fan. Really, I like your
You.
work, like your music,
Likewise,
and
like well, it goes for you too. It's like I think like the cool thing about our relationship is like we're doing this thing, and like, you know, we've talked about my project within your courses and these things too, and I think that's so important. It's like, again, we're building a community with building blocks. You know what I mean? We're making it all work. Like I'm not just this guy over here and you're this guy over here. We're doing this together, and it's mutually beneficial, and it's so amazing. And everybody that like is involved in like the world that I'm in and I'm trying to build, like that is the way that I view it. It's like we're in this together as a community. So it's like I can help you here and you can help me here, and that's fine. And it's not transactional at all. Honestly, it's not. Like, yeah, sure, like yes, there is money that's given from one account to the other for help, but I do think like it's not, it's like so much more pure than just that. You know what I mean? It's not just a business relationship. It doesn't feel like that to me, at least. So it's like, and that's building a community, and that's what makes you a successful musician. Really,
love it.
in my opinion.
No, it is. Yeah, 100%. So Grayson, what's next for you in 2026? Do you have any big projects or goals you're working towards?
Absolutely. So I'm lucky enough that I'm gonna be traveling to the Italy for the Olympics in 2 days. It's my first time DJing at the Olympic Games, and as a young Canadian, the Olympic Games actually outweighs the FIFA World Cup because Canada is not a massive, they weren't at least a massive football soccer nation in the past. So I'm really excited to do that, especially as a former athlete, swimmer, where the Olympics is everything. Other than that, I have like a bunch of demos I'm trying to figure out and finish and get out, whether that be with self-releasing or with labels. I think we're going to do a little bit of both, and just building out this community and these assets that you and I have been working on. Like that's my big goal for 2026 is like to be really focused on my personal project. I think the sporting thing is absolutely amazing, and I'm so grateful. With that being said, it's like that's about sports. It's not about music. And my goal is to play at Tomorrowland and play at EDC, Lollapalooza, you name it, go on a headline tour or even open for another artist on a tour. Like that is exactly what I want to do and get back. More of my priority this year is focusing on this project. And yeah, I think it's going to be an amazing year. And like if it's not on paper an amazing year, we would have learned a lot of lessons, and we can figure out how we're going to make it better next. So I'm overly positive, as you can tell. I'm just, yeah, I think the cool thing about like all of this is I'm really lucky that I get to wake up and do what I want every single day and make music. I think you know, it took a long time to get here, but it's I really enjoy every moment, even the bad ones. So it's yeah, and I'm just so grateful to have you on board as well, man. So appreciate you.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Grayson. And
You're
for
welcome.
artists listening who want to get their music on stadium anthems or want to connect with you or listen to your music, what's the best way to reach out?
You can find me on all the social media platforms. I read all of my DMs, so feel free to send me a DM, follow along, and also you can submit to my playlists on Groover and Submit Hub. But yeah, I'm down. I'm always down to have a conversation, and if you ever need anything from me personally, just reach out and I'll do my best to get back to you.
Awesome. I will leave the link to your Instagram on the description of this episode. And you can also just look for Grayson Repp on Instagram. He's very responsive, and he would love to check out your music and maybe play one of your songs in the next
in the next year,
event.
in a stadium or wherever it might be. That's the cool thing. As I play in nightclubs all over the world, and I play in stadiums all over the world. So it's like, whatever way I can get. If I hear an amazing song, I'm going to play it. So please send away. I'm looking forward to listening to everything.
Awesome, love it, and thank you so much for coming here today, Grayson.
Thanks for having me.
And all of the great information and tips and inspiring stories that you shared. Really, thank you.
Just doing my best. Happy to be part of it.
Can't wait to share this episode with my audience. So, talk to you soon.
Okay, lovely. Okay.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.